In this lesson, we're going to detail out the rear end. Alright, so in the last lesson we had blocked in the trunk area, and now we want to detail out the rear end. Now, a lot of this is going to be separate pieces. As you can see, we have this plastic piece here that kind of looks like an insert, and then we have the exhausts and things like that. Those are going to be separate pieces. What we're worried about is going to be the rear bumper panel here. Okay, so we're just going to be building that out. So in the left view, let's go ahead and go to edge mode, and I'm going to start the process of pulling out these shapes. So let's grab our move tool, hold shift. We're going to drag this out, and I'm going to actually drag it out to about this point right here. And what I'm looking at is this point right here. Okay, and then I'm just going to take the vertices, go ahead and hit Alt X, and pull those around, okay, until they match up with your reference image. And so I'm just kind of going across this. I know that we're missing that curve there, but it's not important right now. And I'm going to pull this across, then we're going to take this one, and I think it might be a good idea to go ahead and pull that to right about there. So that way it follows along with that line there. And then let's take this one and let's just straighten this up some. Basically right over the top of that one. And let's do the same thing here. And here. So it'll look something kind of like that. And then we're going to take all of those points. Let's make sure that those match up in our back view. So hit V and then K. We're going to pull this over until those vertices match right there. So as you can see here, that vertex is at the point where we put it in our left view, and then even down here on the bottom, that's all matching. Okay. We may actually, let's go a little bit further here. Let's pull this across just like that, and then we'll take these three here and we'll pull those back across until they match up here. So you should have a little bit of a curve in all of this. Okay. Alright, so we have that panel started, and we need to go ahead and finish it out. This can be done a couple of different ways. We can go ahead and start the whole blocking process like we did before. I find that that's very easy to do, just kind of separating out what is what. So select that edge right here, and we're going to hold down Shift, drag it straight back until it touches this surface here. Then we're going to hold Shift and we're going to drag it down to the bottom here, and then Shift again to drag it out to the edge, and then Shift and drag straight down to here. Actually, let's grab it right in the Y to right about there. If you go to your back view, you can kind of see where that needs to end there. So we'll put that right there. Let's take this. That's going to be at the bottom of the trunk there. These two are very similar. They actually should be almost right on top of one another, and that looks pretty good. Okay. So now, if we want, we can go ahead and switch around to our perspective view, and we could start to trace out what is what. So here on the back, we have this edge. Let's hold Shift and drag it straight out. And I'm going to drag it out to, let's see, let's drag it out to this point here, right where that starts to turn. Grab this vertex and pull that down until it meets that line. Then take this edge, and then we're going to take this edge, and we're going to bridge those. Okay. So if we take a look at that in our left view, you can see that that comes across. This vertex actually needs to come down underneath that. Okay. Take that across there. And then I'm actually going to bring this down. So that way that's right across there. And let's take these edges, or these vertices, let's constrain to the edge. Let's pull those down just to kind of even out the polygons here. There we go. So now we have that set. Now let's take this edge right here and let's go to our top view, and you can see it's way out there. So let's pull this down let's turn off that edge constraint. Pull that straight down there. Let's go to edge mode, select these two edges, and connect. Let's try it one more time. Let's connect it, but let's take a look at our settings. Let's zero out these settings and then hit OK. Now in our top view, we can pull that up to match our reference image. Okay, so now we've rounded out that bumper. We can take a look at it with the Turbo Smooth turned on. You can kind of see how that looks. Don't get too distracted by that because we're not quite finished with this, so don't lose heart. Okay. Let's take this edge. Actually, let's go to our back view. Hit V and then K. I'm looking at this edge right here. That's going to go across the top of that bumper. Let me take this edge and this edge here. Let me hold Shift and drag that straight up until it meets that edge, and then we're going to do this. We're going to come in and we're going to take these edges, pull them back in the Y, and I'm going to pull it back into where it's almost even with this point here. So we'll be able to get close. Then we're going to go to vertex mode. I'm going to target weld from here to here. There we have that little bump there. And then I'm going to take these points right here on the top and I'm going to pull them to where they kind of point toward the trunk a little bit. Okay, and then we have this point right here. If we go to our left view, I'm going to go ahead and pull this down to right here. And I'll take this one and pull that one down just a bit. And I'm going to pull that back away just a little bit. But then what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to Edit, Swift Loop. I'm going to add a loop right here so it's at the end of that. And then I'm going to right click and cut from that point right out to the edge of this. Okay, and then I'm going to right click and target weld this point to here. Now what that's going to do is it's going to create that little lip that we need for our bumper. So I can pull that in and it creates this edge. Okay, and it does come to a point like that, and I'm okay with the triangle in this case. Okay, so there we have that set. It's looking good. We have that little lip started there, and then now we can come in and start to finish out the rest of this. So if we go to our back view, if I take these edges and I hold down Shift and I drag that straight down, you can see that's coming down to this point, and then this vertex can come right down to here. Okay, so I'm going to right click and target weld here down to here, and there we go. So we've got that started being blocked out there. Now we'll have to add some more to add to its shape, but we'll be getting that very soon. In the back view again, let's make sure that we get this edge right here. So hold Shift and let's drag that across. Take this vertex here, let's pull that up to right there. And I'm actually going to pull this up a little bit. You can see there's kind of this little edge right here. It's going to actually fold up underneath. We'll be building that in a little while, but let's make sure that we get all of the main shapes here. Now we want to take those points that we just created and pull those straight back until they meet on our reference image. Alright, very good. Let's take a look at that really quickly. It's got enough curvature to it, I believe. We may actually pull this out just a little bit more. I think I may have pulled that in a little too far at the very beginning, but that's okay. Just tweaking some things right now. Okay, so we have that set. Let's go to our left view, make sure that that's giving us the right shape that we need. And then let's close this area in right here. So to do this, let's go to Edit, Swift Loop. Let's add a loop right here. And then let's take this edge here and this edge. Let's bridge those. And then we're going to take another edge here, add it right into there. And then I'm going to take this edge, and we'll bridge that. Oops. Let's make sure we get the right ones. bridge that, and then I'm going to take this edge and this one and bridge that. So that's all bridged in there properly. And then I can just come in and I can start to move these points around a little bit to match up with that seam. So there we go. We have to move some of these points around just a little bit more. Kind of get that to relax a little bit. There's a little bit of a dip right in here, and we may have to add another segment, but I'm not going to worry about that. It's such a very minor detail right now that it's not going to really hurt anything if we leave it just the way it is. However, we do need to make sure that we pull these points back to where they're supposed to be touching in these areas here. So we'll pull that over there. All right, that looks good. And then the last bit to this that we need to do is we need to go ahead and finish up by blocking in the trunk around the tail light. And so we're going to go ahead and we're going to start on that in the next lesson. We'll block that area in, and then after that we'll actually build the parts that are going to go ahead and make up the rear end of that, including the tail light. We might wait on that just a little bit, but we want to start building in the things like the spoiler, the parts that we see underneath the rear end, and then we'll also start adding some thickness to the panels and really starting to add some more detail to this as we go. Okay, so I'll see you in the next lesson.